Hey everyone, it's Chris and Charlie here with Daily Motor, and we just got a new BMW dropped off as one of our cars for this week. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like.
Is it white? I think it's white.
I thought it was gray. I'm pretty sure it's gray. I
hope not.
glimpsed at the Monroney. I'm not entirely.
Ooh, it's a nice gray.
It is gray.
Wrong
Okay,
front.
so this is a 2022 BMW 330i equipped with the M Sport package. As we know, a very important specification as far as Charlie's concerned. He loves when cars are equipped with the M Sport package. And
Especially when they're all-wheel drive too, because we know how many people want a base motor, all-wheel drive, heavy 3 Series.
That's right.
But like to be sporty too.
Yes.
Speaking of that, I'll tell you this actually on the podcast.
Okay.
Also, I'm having a nosebleed, so I'm going to let you resume this real quick.
Okay.
Or give your impressions.
Okay, right. Well, I'll
wipe
do a
out my
little
nose.
walk around while you deal with that.
Yeah.
This is actually going to be my first impressions overall of a G20 3 Series. The only other new generation 3 Series I've really spent time with is the M3. I've never even really spent time in an M340i, so this will be a good glimpse into this newest generation of 3 Series, even though it's about to go through an LCI, life cycle impulse, as BMW likes to say. Are you sorted?
Good enough.
Tissue's good enough. Yeah, I was just saying this is the first G20 I've really spent time with that isn't an M3.
I was just going to say it's the first G20 I've spent time with that isn't at least the 340i.
I've never even spent time in one of those.
Okay.
But, so my mother owns a previous generation F30 328 X-Drive, which is essentially just the older version of this car.
Right.
Hers is not an M Sport though, so...
So this one will feel much sportier.
Right, this will feel much sportier.
Jokes aside, though, we love this motor in the 230i.
We do.
I love
yeah.
it in everything, actually. So I'm excited for this car.
Whoever was driving this was sitting in the ceiling.
Short boy.
You ready to spend like 12 hours? Well, actually not 12 hours. I'm going to spend 12 hours in this car.
No, I actually am excited because that's part of the reason you and I got this car. Is it should be remarkably efficient. It says 34 mpg highway, but we know in BMW speak that's about 40.
That's right. Yeah, it would be nice to see 40. However, I will say that with the 2 Series, with this same motor, it only managed like 34 on the highway at 72.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see then. This car might be a little bit slipperier, but also maybe a little bit heavier.
Slipperier. I like that.
It's also interesting.
We need to deal with this stupid climate control.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's also interesting to get in this car because if you look right across the way, you just spent the weekend with the IS.
I did, yeah.
And this is it's not an exact competitor. The IS is a little bit smaller of a car, but not by much.
Well,
they're pretty close.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. 51,000. It's unexcusable. If they had left out the M Sport package, the manual just steering column would be okay. But they didn't.
Charlie says, screw the M Sport package, give me a power adjust steering column.
Hey, but look at this. Across the board 5-star crash test rating.
Oh, and everything's Germany.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much built in Germany. 0% built in the US.
Oh.
Ought to be a good car.
That's right. Okay, so we've got our just normal typical M Sport steering wheel here with mounted paddles. We don't have M stitching on this car, just black stitching.
Guess you have to pay extra for that.
Yeah, you love all the little things that I notice about, stuff like that too. Non-leather dashboard, but we have this weird trim. This shows up really weird on camera. I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
Okay.
But we see a similar trim in M Sport equipped cars, just kind of across the board. iDrive selector down here for our infotainment, but of course the screen is also touch. So that's good. All of our different drive modes. Yep, it has a center console. That's nice. Oh, is it soft though is the question.
Like soft close or
No,
for your elbows?
for
Yes.
my elbow, as you bash into my elbow.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not super soft over
No.
there. This is pretty soft here though.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
It also appears that we do not have adaptive cruise control.
Does it really not?
Nope. Gotta pay extra for that.
Maybe it's a chip issue. Oh, the steering wheel's heated though. So that's...
But is it actually?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Unless it tells you...
that would be awesome.
That would be funny.
No, the reason I bring that up is Chris and I have been in 2 consecutive General Motors products so far that have had the buttons for heated and cooling seats, but have not actually had them. Although the truck had them in the front.
It did, just not in the back.
Oh, it's so quiet.
I was going to say, it's nice to be back in a car with very linear power linear throttle response and just overall quietness.
Yeah.
Like that, you hear that 4-cylinder. We were driving a Cadillac last week, and you really hear that 4-cylinder.
I think this is the best 4-cylinder on the market.
Oh, hands
4-cylinder turbo, 2-liter turbo.
Just like mass-produced 4-cylinder.
Yeah. Well, because we had the Q3 week before the Cadillac, and that one was also fairly grainy, especially for the type of vehicle.
It's just,
oh, it's so good.
it's so quiet. And if you go into Eco Pro,
It's even quieter.
it sounds,
'cause you
it's
don't-
like an EV. Like
Yeah.
you literally.
And the
don't
only
hear
reason
this
for that
engine.
is because in normal modes, it pipes in a little sound. But in this mode, it's no piped in sound. I know, it
You
really,
can't hear it. It's so funny.
it's such a great engine.
All right, straight from Eco Pro to Sport.
Of course. Well, you have the M
got
Sport, so you
manual
got to
mode.
drive like a douchebag.
That's right. But we do have all-wheel drive, right?
Yes.
Oh, it shifts so smooth and so fast.
If every car on the road had this powertrain or better, the world would be a better place.
Oh. Ooh, okay.
Got some bite?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the steering in sport mode.
You gonna
Oh,
make this
is
gap?
that the Topher?
Nope.
Nope,
that's
it's
the
not.
car he's picking up.
Oh yeah.
Now, if there was an obnoxious guy going by in a red slingshot, then that would be
Then it would be the Topher. So one thing I like about BMWs is that you have your steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, but you can also shift down here.
And it's the proper direction. You go down to shift up.
That's right, yep. Which sounds backwards, but it's actually inherently correct.
It's proper.
Yes. Because if you think about it, on a manual car, when you go from first to second, you pull down.
Yes.
A lot of people don't consider that.
Right. Please don't turn right. Please don't turn right. Yes. Make sure this
Ooh, yep.
cruised. I did hear that burble.
Yeah.
That was quite nice.
I was gonna say, did I hear some pops and burbles there?
I am quite interested to know if, upon your initial impressions in this drive, if you would rather have this motor or the V6 that is in
This motor.
Okay.
I don't love the V6 in the IS350.
Okay.
It's just bland.
I think we should go out and roll race them.
We should. You want to?
Maybe if they don't pick up the IS until this afternoon.
Ooh, it'll hit limiter. I was just curious to see how high it would rev.
I will say the sound's not exactly inspiring.
No, it's not. Okay,
But
let's get out of. Go back into comfort.
It's pretty good. I think the only people who make a rowdier 2-liter are AMG and then some of the older Ford, like the
the Focused.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty rowdy 2-liter turbo.
Yeah, AMG makes a good 4-cylinder.
Yeah, which is good because they're putting it in the C63 now.
Yeah. I like this car. It's just
It's gonna
like
be such a nice place to be for
it's just nice.
hours.
Yeah, so the seats feel pretty nice. One thing that my mom really doesn't like about her is, hold on.
Seems pretty neutral.
Yeah. One thing my mom doesn't really like about hers is how hard the seats are.
Ah. Sometimes hard
these
seats are a
feel-
good thing in long distance though, because they
Yeah.
provide support.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't like it. She has a bad back, kind of. Not. Well, she doesn't have a bad back, but when you're old, you just like
Yeah.
you need lumbar support. I don't know.
Well, it's a good thing she's getting an NX because that's got nice squishy seats.
Yeah, that's right.
I like the continue. How do I want to say
It's
this?
just so quiet as it
Yeah.
goes.
Go that way and swap with me.
Yes, we will do that.
I like the continuity of materials. It's this material, and then like
Yeah,
the black
what were we
leather.
driving that had like the Volkswagen Passat?
Yeah, a lot going on. The Passat, they just needed to use up materials that they had laying around from
Oh,
previous
right.
Passats. So they're just
That's
like,
right.
let's put wood here, piano black here, aluminum
Yeah.
here, and ship
Oh
it.
God, the car is pulling me off the road.
BMWs like to do that.
Yeah, they do. Oh, what do we have here? That is a E39 5 Series.
Very pretty. We have an E39 at the shop. It's a shame it never moves.
And it's not necessarily mechanically able to. Well, it can move, just barely.
Okay. Interesting feature that was on the IS I noticed that made me think of a BMW is the turn signal stalk that returns to the middle.
Oh, yes.
It's not something you see very often anymore.
No, and I don't like that, but this one is a proper turn signal stock.
Yes.
Okay, so now, don't pull over on the side of the road when you're driving this to look at your old broken down Volvo.
Right, because we will get a flat tire.
That's right.
Fun fact, my father got a nail in his Tacoma tire as well. I don't
Yeah.
know how Tacomas get nails
Let's
through their
not
tires.
speak that into existence because we need this car.
can't open the trunk.
Oh, you can't do that while it's running, I don't think.
Probably only if it's unlocked.
Yeah,
How many M badges are on this one? I have at least 4.
at least.
I think we might have a bass sound system in here.
Oh yeah, we totally do.
Because you know what's more important than Harman Kardon? M Sport. Who builds a car like that? Jeff, if you're watching this and you built this car, is this the car and driver spec? Is that what you gave us?
It's kind of a weird spec.
Yeah, just a good amount of power.
Yeah.
Let's go Eco Pro. That sounds so much better.
As your MPGs are dropping. Driving spiritedly in Eco Pro. Daily Motor top tip.
Is that our truck? No.
Huh?
We had that 2 weeks ago. The high country.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people harp on the G20 for being, it's so techy, it's so heavy, vague steering and brake, all this stuff. But in today's modern age of vehicles, it's still a sports sedan.
Oh yeah.
Even just the space motor version, I would happily drive this car.
Yeah.
And we will.
And we will
drive this car.
We will drive this car.
We will be spending about 12 hours behind the wheel of this collectively, and I'm sure we'll have all sorts of little observations to donate to your eyes and ears.
That's right. Oh,
Yes?
they do work.
Wow, your heated seats work. What a
What a
concept. The
concept.
button actually applies the desired effect.
That was bothering me, sorry. Oh, visor test. Oh,
Yep.
that's
Not
a
very
pass.
long, but it's there. And there's a handle here, which I like to have.
Oh yeah.
Another thing, listen how quiet the fan is, even at 3. You can barely hear it. The Maverick, even, and I know it's a totally different car, but even on 1, you hear it.
Yeah, and in the iX you heard it too.
Yeah. And there's enough torque down low, you don't have to hear the engine trying to do anything. Very effortless. One little feature of BMWs I always like is how you can just touch
Oh yeah.
these without clicking them, and it'll tell you what
It just
preset you have.
effectively gives you 2 times the
Functionality.
yeah.
I wonder what tires we have on here that they're so quiet. Or if the car itself is just quiet.
I think the car itself is just quiet, but the tires certainly help.
You know it's a very German-built car when you would be confident heading out on the Autobahn and clicking buck 30 and just chilling there.
In a base model 3 Series.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Now in the basic BMWs, the start-stop button matches the rest. If this were like an M-ish car, it'd be red.
It'd be red.
That's important.
Yeah.
We'll probably get that with the M Sport.
Mm-hmm. Special key. Yeah, gotta have that.
More important than the Harman Kardon.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I will say? The door handles in this car, in
Very
all
hard.
of these, huh?
Very hard to pull.
No, I like them.
Oh,
I think they
yeah,
feel.
yeah.
I think they feel really nice.
Yeah, I agree. These tires are
Oh, Bridgestones, of course.
Bridgestone.
They're just all-season tires. It looks like.
Yeah, well, that's what you want for just good ride compliance and quietness.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited. Are they run flats?
Probably.
Turanza. They're star spec, but I don't think they're run flats.
Huh. Okay
There's no
then.
indication to me that they're run flats. Oh, yep, just kidding. They are RFT.
Okay. Don't get a nail on them.
Well, you can just
Can't
drive
fix
it.
'em.
Just keep driving.
That's true. You just keep driving it.
Yep.
So summing up our week here in the 22 BMW 330i, we spent a ton of time in this car. We took it on a pretty lengthy road trip down to my buddy's shop in Peoria, Illinois, Kauth and Mayer. And that allowed us to get some really proper road trip, long distance impressions in this car. And I would say overall we were pretty impressed, mainly because on the drive down we achieved 43 miles per gallon.
Yeah, really quite good. What did you get on the way back?
About 41.
40. Okay, so
Yep.
over 40 both times.
Yep.
No problem.
Yeah, I don't know what EcoPro's reading out right now. 39.6, but I've been
Just driving
driving
here
spiritedly
Sure.
since I've been home.
Yeah, it's understandable.
But
And so quiet on the highway.
oh, whisper quiet.
Good amount of space. I would say probably not the most amount of space to put things.
Yes.
I know when you and I made a pit stop to Culver's, shout out Midwestern Chick-fil-A, we didn't have a ton of room to put all of our things.
Yeah, I have a question regarding Culver's.
Okay.
Did we get a lot of ketchup on that trip? I kept finding ketchup in the car. It kept like coming out of everywhere, like sealed little ketchup packets. I pulled 3 of those just out of random places in the car. Like there was one in the cup holder that I knew about, and then I was going through trying to like clean stuff out of here the other day, and 2 more things of ketchup rolled out from under the passenger seat.
Daily Motor top tip: if you need to store a lot of ketchups, get a 3 Series. Yeah, I don't know exactly why that happened, but it's probably because there aren't a lot of great places to put ketchup.
That's why I wanted to mention that.
Because if your phone is here charging and you have 2 drinks,
yeah, you don't have anywhere else.
You don't have anywhere else to put ketchups.
No, and when we were allegedly eating our Culvers while driving.
Sorry.
Allegedly.
Sorry,
No,
Jeff.
allegedly. No, we weren't. I just think allegedly. We weren't actually doing it. If you were to do that, you would probably have to do something where you put your meal on your lap. Right? Is probably how you'd have to do it.
Mm-hmm. So that is why people are turning away from sedans and toward crossovers, is because there's more room for fast food.
More space for fast food.
Yeah. Now, if only we had the F-150.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I speak. Not a good car for Italians.
I shot the infotainment video on this yesterday, and I was like, this is a great infotainment system. If you go in and turn off gesture control, then it's great.
The problem is I quite like gesture control for changing the volume.
If you want to turn up your ABBA, that's going to get us demonetized.
Or you can change tracks if you want a different ABBA. Once you kind of get used to it, it's a very natural motion. But yes, it can be annoying when you're describing the car to others and using your hands to do so.
That was a complete stop. Speaking of Sean Benet.
What a great motor, though. Great for the highway. Great for spirited driving.
Yeah.
Great transmission.
Everything just sharpens up so nicely too. You haven't done a launch control in this, have you?
There's launch control?
Yeah, we're gonna do one.
Okay, let's do it. Looking forward to it. Has there been anything you haven't liked about this car? Spending a long time, other than not much room for ketchup.
I don't love the seats, if I'm being honest. They're not the most comfortable in the world.
This F-150 is going to hit you, so good thing you have the M Sport, the M handling package to get you out of that roundabout.
A little bit of understeer around there.
You haven't loved the seats?
What fell? Oh, your camera. No, I don't. Luckily, I've got lumbar over here, but due to the chip shortage, you do not have lumbar.
Yes, lumbar chip shortage.
So when I was a passenger in this car, that isn't a police. No, police don't drive Crown Vics anymore. Okay, so to do launch control, it's just like any other BMW. Sport mode, sport traction, and gas and brake. And launch control active, let it build boost. You ready?
Oh boy! That's properly
60.
aggressive.
Yeah, that's got to be sub 5 seconds. It's quick, dude.
To be honest, the 0 to 30 probably matters more to people than the 0 to 60 or the 30 to 60, because that initial grab is going to impress a lot of casuals, if you will.
I had to stay quiet because the first launch control I did was last night during the night drive, and obviously we'd like launch everything, and I pulled up and I was like, I wonder if this has launch control, and I was like, wow, it does. And then it blew my face off, and I wasn't expecting it to be that quick.
Did you let out a
no
in the winding road drive?
No.
It's kind of a bummer that you didn't notice that with Emily in the car, because that would have been a fun thing
she would have loved launch control.
Yeah. It's a little bit of rough road section rather.
The ride's pretty decent, even with M Sport.
Even with the M Sport wheels and the run flat tires, which a lot of BMW enthusiasts choose to remove.
Yeah.
Steering feel?
Fine. Yeah, I don't find it being like overly simulated.
Okay.
I like it better than the M steering, to be honest.
This is an excellent little entry level. It's not even entry level anymore because of the 2 Series, but this little sports sedan, compact sports sedan.
Because of the powertrain in this, it would be what I would pick.
Yeah, I mean the M340i is borderline M-car fast. It's so, as we talked about with the M240i, that motor is nearly irresponsible.
Yeah.
Excellent engine.
That car is so fast.
I wouldn't feel the need, just like again with the 230, to pay so much more for that engine.
Yeah.
And you get a lot more tire in that car, so it's going to cost more to do tires, brakes.
Yep.
You're going to a little bit less efficient. I mean, this is a very fun car.
It is.
Too bad you can't get it with a stick.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Yeah, there are no non-M BMWs you can get with a stick anymore, are there?
No, I don't think so. But I also don't really
cars.
blame BMW for that because nobody would buy them.
I'm going to sneeze.
And we've talked about this before, but when you put it in Eco Pro mode, it's so quiet. You remove the artificial noise being pumped in through the speakers.
It gives you a readout of how long it coasted on your trip.
Yes.
We've done 11 miles of coasting during our time with this car, which is amazing. And when you do auto stop start, or when the car shuts off when you stop, it gives you the amount of time it's been shut off during your trip, and ours is something like 20 minutes or something like that. So it gives you all of the fun eco measurements like coasting and not idling, stuff like that.
Your voice naturally got softer because the car is so quiet coming out of that roundabout. You said, why am I speaking so loud?
Yeah, I know.
This is a refined vehicle. I should be speaking as such.
It really is, yeah. I'm a big fan of this, and I'm scared because this car is due for a life cycle impulse for 2023, and a couple of worrying things. iDrive 8 for one, and they got rid of the shifter and gave it buttons, which means you can't shift down here anymore if you wanted to manually shift.
Buttons.
Which I find to be kind of important.
Unlike that Silverado leaving the stoplight important.
Yeah.
His text message was
Is he
much
still
more
there?
important.
Here he comes. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, overall, I'm pretty impressed with this car. I've had a good week in it, and I have very, very minimal complaints, if any. I mean, ditch gesture control and
which you can turn off.
Which you can turn off, so you really can't complain about it.
After doing a moderate road trip in the IS350 and then a longer road trip in this, which would you have?
I would have this. You lose a little bit of comfort in this car over the IS350, but for comparison, this got 43 mpg, the IS350 got 27.
Pretty dramatic.
And they both take premium fuel. So you have to consider. And I know that the Lexus is more comfortable from a ride perspective and from a seat perspective, but this still to me feels more refined in the powertrain department and everything that goes like mechanically with this car. It feels quite a bit more modern than the Lexus. So
yeah, which is interesting because this was designed earlier than the Lexus too.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean this is a little bit of a class up from the Lexus too, though. So because the Lexus is kind of in that weird in between where like it's smaller than a 3 Series, but the ES is a little larger than a 3 Series. So the IS is kind of more like a 2 Series. Oh, look at that. You've been idling, or not idling.
23 minutes.
For 23 minutes. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But I honestly think I would have this. Unless I could have the IS 500, then it would all be out the window.
Yes, that is true.
Because V8.
Well, then it would be tough to say, would you get the IS 500 or an M340i? Because you haven't driven the M340i.
I have never have,
but
no.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's just take one last look at this car before we end. We can see all of the road trip on the car.
Did you acquire some road trip?
I acquired a ton of road trip.
Yes.
Active grill shutters there, open and close. I'm sure they do.
BMW LEDs.
That's right. Yes, laser. Are they laser or LED? Oh, LED. Okay.
How were the headlights?
Great. Auto brights on German cars are just very good. Like they work flawlessly all the time, which I cannot say the same for like Toyota and Lexus products. I've blinded a lot of people with those. But no, BMW, Volkswagen, all of the German cars, they do the auto brights very well.
It's a boring car, but it's a great car.
No, really, truly a great car. And here's a question for you before we end. Would you recommend this to someone over an X3 of the same caliber?
No.
Okay.
X3 is excellent too, that's the problem.
All right, well, there you go, everyone. Daily Motor top tip. Buy an X3 instead.
I hate that that's the case, but
I disagree. I would have this.
Well, it was interesting. After your friend, what's Sean's father's name?
Michael.
After your friend Michael was telling us about how his wife so much prefers her GLC
Over her E-Class.
E-Class.
Yeah.
I get it. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense. The sedan is excellent. And I will say, the only person who should get this over the X3, someone who does a lot of highway driving.
Yeah.
Because this will get better speeds, especially if like Autobahn style driving, this is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So quiet and so efficient. But the X3 is so good, and you get the extra usability, you sit up a little higher. As much as we love to be like, oh, sedans, you ain't buying them anymore, the crossover makes more sense from a vehicle perspective.
We're part of the problem, everyone.
I know.
Yeah.
So great car, but yeah, you should buy an X3.
Okay, well, that's Charlie's opinion. Buy a 3 Series, keep the sedan around. But that's been our week with the new BMW 3 Series. The next one you see on the channel will probably be the LCI. So we'll have to compare and see if that has helped or unhelped the newest 3 Series. But
And tune in a month when we have an X3M competition.
Oh,
which
right.
Which will
Yeah,
surely
no,
sway Chris toward X3 side.
right, yeah. So that'll wrap it up for us today. Thank you all so much for watching. We're Chris and Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always,
Drive on.